Welcome back to the channel, episode 2 of Yanks Abroad. I'm Casey Settleman.
Will Balsam.
Today we have an exciting one, a way too early Euros 2020.
Way too early.
Euros 2024 predictions. I'm sure there will be injuries, different things, form.
I mean, there could be different managers.
Yeah, a lot could change, but we figured we'd get into it. The groups got announced a few weeks ago, so there's no better time to give an early prediction. We'll probably revisit this later.
It's kind of a win-win, right? Because like, we're either going to look really smart, or we can be like, well, this was 7 months before the Euro. What are we going to do?
And this is the whole thesis behind Yanks Abroad to a T, is two Americans talking about European football. So if you're joining us from abroad and hate us, most likely, thank you.
Thank
and
you
if
for
you're
watching.
from America and hate us or love us, we also thank you for tuning in. But we're going to go group through group, give predictions, and then we're going to give a dark horse candidate. We're going to give our winners, of course. We're going to give a disappointment, and then just some thought starters of overall things we think are worth speaking about in the Euros. You want to start at Group A?
Sure. Group A, we've got, well, I'm just going to name the teams that we've got, and then we'll talk about ordering them. It's Switzerland, Germany, Hungary, and Scotland. This is going to be played in Germany, the host.
Correct. Did not need to qualify in the Euros.
They did not.
Which is interesting. Because, not to cut you off, but
no,
it's interesting because they only played friendlies and didn't perform that well. And people said they didn't, it doesn't matter. Are they friendlies mentally? Did they probably should have gone in with the same mentality as this is our prep. Everyone else is qualifying and playing important matches. We should probably treat them as important matches, played teams like they were important matches. So I don't think it's something to be ignored that they
first of all, I mean,
poorly.
they've been terrible. They finally had to move on manager-wise. I brought in Nagelsmann.
Thank God. Real quick, this is so off topic. I don't know the answer. Why did they get rid of Nagelsmann?
Who? Bayern?
Yes.
I mean, it blew up in their face, so I don't really
That's
know.
what I'm saying.
I feel like
they've been so much worse without him.
Bayern is such a tricky one because it's like when you've won 11 league titles in a row, what is the metric that you're being measured by? What is the bar? If you don't win the Champions League every year, that's a failure. That's not can't be right. So it's like, I feel like we talked about this in our last episode, like Man City getting bored. Like they truly must. Like Thomas Muller has just fucking won every fucking year of his life. Like it genuinely must get a little boring. He just
plays to, at this point, just win things so he can pour beer on his teammates. I think 100%. At this point. But anyway, let's go back into the Euros.
To it, yeah. So speaking of Germany struggles, I don't have them winning this group.
Okay.
I have Switzerland winning this group.
I don't hate that at all.
Switzerland made a nice little run at the last couple of major tournaments. They're hard to beat. They are on a really nice little run. Granit Xhaka is playing some of the best football of his career. He's captaining the side.
He looks great.
I mean, he's got Leverkusen playing fantastic football.
Team looks great. Yeah. That manager is great. That is a fun team to watch.
Yeah, 100%. And they have other good play. I feel like every one of these countries that isn't like a Germany or France, everyone's like, oh, like they just have one player. Like Switzerland has a whole host of players. They have Noah Okafor, who's a good young striker. Akanji and Schär is a good center back pairing. Like this is a good team. And then you put Freuler next to Xhaka in a pivot. Jan Sommer is a great shot stopper. He's good with his feet. That's a great tournament goalie to have. I'd like Switzerland to win this group. I think they'll beat Hungary and Scotland. And so then it's if they can get a point from Germany. And I think Germany, as you said, are struggling. So I like Switzerland to top the group.
So I went Germany, and I went Germany because
it's.
I was hypocritical.
Sure.
And I'm going to be hypocritical in the sense to where whether or not it's right or wrong, they were playing friendlies. They were in the Euros. And once you're on the pitch, it doesn't really matter. Like you're playing and you're trying to win, and that's how it goes. But they're playing at home, and that sense of pride playing at home will be huge. The fans behind them obviously will be huge. I look at that team and there's no reason that they shouldn't be one of the top contenders to win it all. That team is so talented.
Who's the striker though?
Who's
that's playing up top?
That's the thing. What I have written down is I think Sané's in some of the best form he's ever been in, great. Which I think will be huge. And then Musiala, I am a massive fan of.
Huge fan.
And then Wirtz, coming back from injury, has now looked amazing. That front three...
So who's playing striker?
My answer is I think that front three is good enough to where if it's full Krug, I think he's getting older, but for this tournament could be good. I think it ends up being... Who do you think it'll be?
So I was in the same boat where it's like they're just going to have to... and like I kind of think Germany has gotten away with this in the past. I mean, obviously Klose was fantastic, but like Mario Gomez was really mostly just a goal scorer because he was in the right positions. He was great,
in
the box movement, which
is big,
of course. But he wasn't like you had Harry Kane up there or something. But I was just diving a little bit further deeper into this. I mean, obviously some of the other options, Gnabry can play as a striker, Muller can play as a false nine, Adeyemi, who hasn't been good really for Dortmund, he could play striker. But this kid Maximilian Bayer, who I don't know if you know much about him, 6 goals, 4 assists this year in the Bundesliga. When we're recording this, he might have more already. 21-year-old kid. I think he's going to make the side. I mean, he's mostly featured for their under 21s. I think he makes the squad and potentially is the striker for them.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, they're going to have great service with Musiala and Wirtz and Sané in some capacity playing in behind him. Bayer is great on the turn. He's great dribbling in front of him and eating up space. I think he would be a fascinating striker. I think Füllkrug will probably be the guy, but I don't know.
And then you, like a midfield of Goretzka, Kimmich, and Gundogan, some combination of that. Sure. I just struggle with that, so I am putting them to top the group.
But the back line even, like I was struggling. Like it's Jonathan Tah and it's Rudiger.
You have Rudiger. You have plays for Dortmund. Schlotterbeck. I think Schlotterbeck is pretty good.
Yeah,
he's
pretty good.
He could play. And then if you end up playing Gundogan and Goretzka,
I mean they've been playing Havertz at left wing back in the last few matches.
Which is a travesty.
Of course it is.
It's the biggest joke on Twitter. When that first happened, I thought someone was trolling.
Havertz might play striker.
I mean, if he... No. All right, let's move on to who you have second.
So I have Germany second. I assume you have Switzerland second?
I have Scotland, actually.
Really?
Yes.
I have such little respect for Scotland that my notes have 0 words on them.
Which is fair. They qualified extremely well. They beat Spain in one of their qualifying matches, which in a qualifiers where you play a lot of matches in the middle of club season.
Yeah, sure.
Results can happen here and there, but I think that's
still
nothing.
A massive result for Scotland.
That's a huge result. Scott McTominay is maybe the best goal scorer in.
He's definitely Manchester United's best goal scorer.
So you have McTominay, you have John McGinn.
Sure.
And I think having a strong midfield, you look at Switzerland, who I think also has a really strong midfield.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Okafor is great, and they have a really strong spine, Switzerland, and qualifying, they were also amazing in qualifiers. They were
spectacular.
They were close to perfect, and Scotland was top of their qualifying group for, I think, through 6 or 7 of the first qualifying matches, and then obviously Spain overtook.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Scotland, I obviously didn't watch a ton of Scotland Euro qualifiers.
Oh, you weren't doing that on Tuesday afternoons?
I wasn't, but I think they have, I don't know what it is, like those Welsh sides and the Scottish sides. I could be making something up, but I feel like they always just play with a sense of grit that.
Well, there's also like Scotland, anytime they make a major tournament, is like the whole country. It's a huge fucking deal. And like obviously if Kieran Tierney's healthy, if Robertson's healthy, they have McTominay, McGinn. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of their best players all play similar roles.
Yeah.
But no, they have some other good players. They have Christie, who plays for Bournemouth, Lyndon Dykes, who's been, bouncing around the lower leagues of English football forever.
And I think this is the type of thing where it's not the actual group of death, because you have the Italy-Croatia group, but this is like a low-key group of death.
Yeah,
similar to how the Champions League group with PSG and Dortmund and all that, like they just beat, like it was anyone's match at any point in any game. And I think in the other groups where it's like, it's a fight between maybe the top 2 and the third, and they all get that result against the fourth team. Yeah. And it just matters. Every single match in this group is going to be a dogfight. Sure. And I think, especially if Germany's not on great form,
100%.
Every single, like Germany could be playing really well on their day against Switzerland and then not, and then Scotland could pick up a point.
Right.
It's just, I think it said something about the way they played in qualifiers, and I think they can bring that to the Euros.
Yeah, so I have Germany second. Already said that.
Right.
And then third, I actually have Hungary, who I feel like, for me, like tournament and knockout football is a lot different than the league, where like a player like Szoboszlai, like he's a match winner, and he'll win you one of those 3 group stage matches.
You saw it. The run that Patrick Schick went on.
Yeah, exactly.
At the Euros.
Similar.
He can do.
You can be
they also are like eerily kind of similar players,
yeah.
I mean, looks wise, their build, like
no, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and they have, I mean, this is a potentially, as you said, like there are points to be had in this group. Not that it's an easy group, but like I could see Hungary getting a point against Switzerland. They could get 3 against Scotland. I mean, I'd like them to come in third in this group and be one of the third place teams that actually progresses out of the group stage. I just think they have Soboslai, and then obviously they have Nagy and Salai, a couple of guys who were on that Hungary team that was good at the World Cup. Yep. I think Hungary they've proven in tournament football that they can compete.
Yeah, I have Switzerland third, Hungary fourth, and unfortunately, because of what we were just talking about, since you don't have that really poor fourth team, I don't have Switzerland getting through because
as a third place team.
Yeah, I just think it'll be like 6 points, 4 points, 2 points, 2 points, or however the math works, that I don't think the third place team gets through here, because I think they will really be. This is probably the most fun group to watch, just because the likes of that Italy-Croatia group is kind of going to be an uglier slugfest type of group.
Italy-Croatia is going to be like 3 shots on target. In the whole match.
For me, this is the most exciting group to watch because of the quality throughout the group, and then the question marks surrounding Germany and the host nation. Yeah. So
I feel like if Germany wasn't the host nation, there's a world in which I don't have them getting out of the group.
And I don't think anyone would call you crazy for that.
I mean, they've genuinely been bad.
Yeah.
All right. Group B. That's Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania group. Poor Albania. I mean,
I know. Tough.
Them, if they can get out of this group as a third place team, that'd be the biggest feat for their country in our lifetime, at the very least.
Yep.
I have Spain first.
As do I.
I think Croatia and Italy both have a lot of question marks. Italy obviously has been downright awful since they won the Euros.
Insane.
4 years ago, but really 3 years ago. But Spain has won 8 straight matches. One of those was in penalties, but winning 8 straight international matches is a serious feat. Obviously, Gavi probably won't be fit by tournament. No. But they still have...
One place they don't lack is
midfielders, and they never have. Obviously, Pedri, Rodri. They have Nico Williams, who is a great young attacker.
Danny Olmo.
Zubamendi, Danny Olmo. They have an incredible talent. Again, I feel like ever since Spain won 3 major tournaments in a row, it's been like, and that was the David Villa age. Yeah. It's been like, who's playing striker? That is the one thing that's going to hold them back.
That's the biggest question always with them.
But Morata's kind of found his form.
That is the note in bold caps that I have written down is Morata is in great form, and that is very simply because we know they'll control possession with great midfielders. We know they'll be solid in defense. Who do you have starting in goal for them?
Well, I was going to ask you. I mean, I think Unai Simon will start in goal I
think he's solid.
I think he's solid. I feel like if they were willing to tap Raya's shoulder, like... Okay. No, listen. This isn't an Arsenal thing. I've been a big David Raya fan. You could, for those who follow me on Twitter, on Hellland Productions, you've known I've loved Raya for long before he was at Arsenal. But, like, that adds a level to a guy who's that comfortable, who's truly an extra man. And if you're Spain who's going to control play,
it can be,
and you probably aren't going to have that many shots on goal, it's an interesting idea. But I do think it'll be Unai Simon.
My thing with having... And I think Ferran Torres is very good. I
like Ferran Torres.
Like it's just for me.
There are a lot of good players.
For me, it's simple. Morata is on good form going into that tournament. Spain is someone to be reckoned with. If he falls off in form, you start asking questions about them even getting out of the group.
Where are the goals coming from?
Yep.
Like, I mean, it wasn't this past World Cup, but the one before, I feel like they were having like 63% possession and still couldn't score a freaking goal.
Yeah, they struggled in the World Cup to score some goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Spain also has like some interesting younger talents that might make the squad. Lamine Yamal. That's what I've written down. Lamine Yamal is... Barcelona just produces these 16-year-olds. Like...
Lamine Yamal, Morata, Ferran Torres, for me, is great.
And then you have guys like Oyarzabal from Sociedad, Nico Williams from Bilbao. I mean, they have...
Yeah.
And Fati's in pretty good form for Brighton. I think Fati's
he'll make the squad. But if he's not, he'll make the squad. I don't think he'll get consistent enough minutes to get that starting role. But
no, I don't think he'll start.
He's good depth.
I mean, you bring Fati off the bench.
All right, so here's the question: who do you have second?
I have Croatia.
As do I.
I think there's just too many question marks around Italy. I mean, Italy barely... They shouldn't have even...
They should not be in this tournament.
They shouldn't.
They
had a penalty.
Insane.
They should have been a penalty given to Ukraine in that final match, and then Italy would be in the qualifiers, and they would lose to North Macedonia again, like they did the last time for the World Cup.
I vividly remember being in the gym and that game.
The North Macedonia. My best friend is Italian, so he's a huge Italy fan, and I just remember, like, I had secondhand embarrassment. Like, I was like... This would be like if like the U.S. lost a basketball game to North Macedonia.
Right. Like, I mean, I was with friends who have no clue who don't follow soccer.
And they were
I was trying to explain to them how massive this is. And like, it was tough to even put into words or translate to American sports of any type because of how big of an upset that was. But yeah, I have Croatia going second just because you look at Italy and we talk about confidence a lot and just like the vibes and confidence around that squad is obviously very low. And then you go into a Croatia side where on paper, I'm thinking, how are they going to do it again this year? Modric is not getting consistent minutes at Madrid
Literally
anymore.
what I have written down is, how can Modric, Brozovic, and Kovacic do this again?
Kovacic isn't getting consistent minutes at City right now. Rakitic is the only one getting consistent minutes.
I don't even know if he'll make the squad.
Yeah, he's the only one getting consistent minutes at Sevilla. And then you look up top, and you really start asking the questions of where the goals are going to come from.
It's like Kramaric is still the guy.
Perisic is coming off a massive injury. I don't even know if he'll get into the side because I don't know if he'll get enough minutes to be fit in time for it.
And then Gvardiol is having a slow start at Man City.
The thing is,
he's been great for them.
Croatia is they have Gvardiol, and then they have a lot of guys like Sosa that the defense will be very solid. The goalkeeper.
They're a well-oiled machine.
They're just winners, and there's something to be said about being winners. And Italy are losers right now. And the thing with Italy,
so much of this sport comes down to management. Yeah. And Italy's management since the Euros has been a disaster. And Croatia seemingly, even with this squad of kind of like mix of old guys and unproven guys, like they seemingly are able to do it. And Modric is going to do it on the biggest stage. He always does.
It's the first time he's coming into it without being without consistently playing for Madrid, which
might be better for him at his age.
Which is crazy that it could be a better thing.
Yeah.
But if it ends up being a worse thing because he's not getting the minutes, then you start to ask questions. But yeah, if you are going to doubt Croatia, you don't need to look at the team sheet. You need to look at the badge and the name. And if you're doubting Croatia in a major tournament, you're just wrong at this point. A quick tidbit. Since gaining independence from Yugoslavia, they haven't played since 2016, I think it was, but Italy has never beaten Croatia in a competitive match.
That's a wild fun fact.
Right?
Love that.
I found that during my research
love that.
For this episode. And last thing on Italy, I don't think they're that talented, which is crazy.
I wrote down there's a lot of individual talents, but I don't know how any of them work together. So you have Chiesa
and Barella, and Donnarumma, who I think are the only three who are truly world class. Is that fair?
Yeah, who are currently world class. Yeah. I don't even think Chiesa's world class. I think Barella is, and Donnarumma's not been great.
They're not. I don't find them to be that talented. And then you go to identity, where Spain, clear identity, Croatia, clear identity, and then Italy, it's like you don't have the center backs and the defending and the midfield.
Their best center backs are kind of like unproven. Like Scalvini to me should be starting. Yeah. Bastoni should be starting.
Like Cannavaro and Baresi and even Chiellini and all those guys, Bonucci, like
Maldini, Nesta,
they aren't that team anymore. And I don't think they have an identity. And I think that in a knockout, in a tournament where it's a short sample size, having an identity and knowing what you're looking to accomplish in a short sample size of games is a huge.
The only way they're going through is if they lean on young players and those young players show out. Like if Udogie, Scalvini, Frattesi, if those guys show up and they're actually called upon, I think that they could make some noise. But
who plays number 9 for them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Scamacca does.
Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah. And I feel like that's also been like Italy's issue ever since Totti wasn't their number 9. Like,
yeah, I mean, Balotelli.
It was like Balotelli, but like,
All
inconsistently.
right,
exactly.
so we both have Italy third.
Yeah, but I think probably either Croatia or Italy will be another third place team that gets through.
Because this is what we were talking about, what doesn't happen in the last group. Albania, I think those teams all get 3 points.
Yeah.
And then if you scrape a draw, 4 points might,
I do have I do have a true potential Cinderella team in this group. I think if Italy is really as bad as we say they are, and Albania gets 3 points against Italy, they sneak a point against a Croatia side that struggles to score. Yeah. They have some interesting players. They have Jamisti and Haisaj, who are both very good defenders. And then
Haisaj is the right back?
Yeah. And then as we were saying about Solozai, Broja is the same kind of isolated
Yeah.
striker type player who can win. Like he did it for Southampton, I feel like, in that first half of the year when he was on loan there. Like
100%.
he was out there alone.
Yeah.
He would win a ball.
On that relegation side. Yes.
And he would score from
100%.
They win a match 1-0 and then they get a draw 0-0 against Croatia.
And
they
in a
find their way
tournament
in the
style,
knockout.
if you have someone who gets you that one goal, and in a group where it's like one goal might lock you up a point.
All three of these teams are going to struggle to
Spain's
score
going
goals.
to try and win a 1-0, 2-0. Croatia's going to try and win a 1-0. And
if you don't let
Italy's
yourself
gonna
get
try and
passed
win a 1-0.
around by Croatia and Spain, you get a chance at winning a point.
No, I think it's out there because it's such a boring group of death.
Yeah, it's not like
hilarious.
You remember when it was like that group of death at a World Cup where that Portugal-Spain game ended like 3-3 or 2-2?
Yeah, the Ronaldo free kick.
Yeah, like that group of death was insane.
Right. This one,
not so group of deathy.
No. I'm going to watch every single match because
Yeah.
it's so interesting how it's going to play out.
For
but
sure.
yeah, I if you didn't watch it, I don't blame you.
100%. All right, Group C. England, Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia.
Yeah. This is tough because if like Serbia, Slovenia, it's...
No, that's what we were saying to you beforehand. It was like...
To a casual, it's like, this is tough.
Also, like, both of them do have players that everybody knows, but, like, which one is from which country?
Exactly. All right, let's get it over with. England is topping the group.
Topping the group.
I don't think you need to go in depth into why.
More of my questions about England are what are they going to do after they top the group?
Exactly.
And to me, this is a perfect group for them to get away from the back five, go to the back four, get the dynamics right. So when you get to the knockout stage, you can be more expansive. They have...
Let's wait on England because I want to touch on that in depth after the groups.
I'm interested to know who you have second.
So I put Serbia second.
I put Serbia second.
Right. All right. Why'd you put Serbia second?
Because they can create and score tons of goals. I mean, the fact that Mitrovic will start for them and not Vlahovic speaks volumes. Mitrovic, they got freaking Tadic, who's going to sit as a secondary striker right behind him. Sorry, I just have to remember which players are Serbian. Oh, yeah, then they have like Gudelj, who plays for Sevilla, who's a good player. They have Lukic, who's a good player, who plays for Fulham.
Yep.
And Milenkovic. They have some good veterans. They have guys who can score. And they have Kostic, who's going to rip down the left wing and throwing crosses to both Vlahovic and Mitrovic, who are both huge players.
And I think... So Denmark obviously made a run in last...
Yeah.
That was
I have them being a big disappointment.
Yeah, so I also do. But yes, I completely agree with Serbia. It's... You ask yourself... Can you be compact and well-drilled and then find goals in a tournament like this? And I think they are built to do something like that. And I think you have experience. And I think that is enough to... Because realistically, I see England I don't see England dropping a point in this group.
No, I mean...
So then it's a battle of can you get... They're all going to be good matches.
If you can get 3 points, you might be second place.
So I went Serbia as well in second.
Yeah, I think like you were saying, like I think Denmark did have a bit of a Cinderella run, and everyone's expecting that again.
Yeah.
But they actually haven't been great.
No.
They did win 5 of their last 6 matches, but these matches that they won, they lost to Northern Ireland.
Mm.
They scraped by Slovenia 2-1. They beat San Marino 2-1. They gave up a goal to San Marino.
I think they scored late to win that game. Yeah.
San Marino, I don't know if you follow that Twitter account, the San Marino fan.
I don't, but I'm aware of what they are.
Kazakhstan gave them a real run for their money.
Yeah.
They had a slight win over Finland and Northern Ireland. They're not scoring goals against bad competition. This is going to be a hard group for them. I think they're going to struggle to score goals unless, Højlund's going to carry them. I don't know. They have a really good team on paper. I really like their team.
My thing is what carried them is the midfield of, I think it was Delaney, Højbjerg, and Eriksson.
Yeah.
And it's not only aging, but Eriksson, he simply can't create the same way he always will.
He's just not the same player.
He's not getting consistent minutes at United. Højbjerg, as a Tottenham fan, has fell off a cliff.
Yes.
I think he is atrocious. And he's that Viking warrior that can be good in this type of format where you need to have that engine for a certain amount of matches and put that on. So I don't doubt that he can do that. But yeah, similar to pretty much every point you made. And it's funny that we did this separately, but came to similar conclusions. But yeah, I have Denmark finishing third though. Do you have them finishing?
Yeah, I have them third.
Okay.
I have Slovenia fourth. They're in really good form, and they do have like Benjamin Sesko.
I think I said my note is outside.
He's another one of those players. Like if he could score from nothing a couple times.
My note is transparently outside of Sesko. I don't know a single player on the
Jan
team.
Oblak is their goalie.
Of course, yes, Oblak. and
yes, outside
which
of them.
is big.
But he's actually also not in great form.
No, he's not.
So,
Which is weird because they are in good form. So
right.
Yeah. So that's why I put Slovenia.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, again, like, this is a group where I actually think when you're Slovenia and you're coming up against Serbia, like, you probably go for it and try and get the 3 points. Yeah. And so if you don't get the point there, and then you maybe get 1 point against Denmark, you get crushed by England, like, you find your way out.
It's such an interesting tournament because of the way third place gets through. Right. And I think your scheduling of matches can be so beneficial or
right, like if
tragic
you know,
to your run.
Right, if they know when they're playing Serbia, if 1 point gets them through,
exactly.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, agreed throughout that.
Group D.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually an interesting group because I couldn't pick somebody from the playoff for this one that's going to go through, and then so therefore put them fourth. The playoff that would go into Group D is Wales, Poland, Estonia, and Finland. Did you choose?
The best playoff?
Right, which made it harder for me to choose.
It's hard, and I didn't put them in, and I don't know. I think it'll be Wales.
I do too, but like,
because the days of Lewandowski carrying Poland, I think, are over.
By the way, Lewandowski never has carried Poland in a major tournament.
I'm saying gotten them there.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I agree. Those days are over.
Like they used to pick up enough points through him in qualifiers to get them in, and then
everyone's
done.
like, okay, dark horse Poland,
right.
and then they get 1 point.
Right.
Yeah.
And like with Milik, and like they should have. But at this point, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think they'll get through. I'll give it to Wales, but I have Wales finishing fourth. I have. I didn't make a true prediction, but mentally I'm going Wales, and I have them finishing fourth.
That's kind of what I have. France topping the group. I don't think there's much to say. They're the best team in the tournament.
Best team in the tournament.
If they don't win, it'll be an upset.
Best player in the tournament.
Best defender in the tournament. Who doesn't even get.
Who doesn't start? Which is
probably the best midfield in the tournament.
It's interesting though. Not actually interesting, but they finally moved on from Lloris, which is going
to make them even better.
Which is the right decision.
I mean, I think if I could have any goalkeeper join my club right now, it would be Mike Maignan.
Really?
Maignan.
Interesting. Okay. You have Netherlands second?
I do. I think Netherlands is going to see, number one, that this is a group that they should progress out of, even though it has France. They should be getting 6 points from Austria and whoever the playoff team
Agreed.
is. At worst, they're getting 4 points and they're going through. So they're going to see this as an opportunity to get through the group stage easily and win a tournament. This is their chance to win a tournament, I think. It's the perfect blend of players. Their best players are kind of priming. They have some good young talents.
Xavi Simons is in unreal form at Leipzig.
Him and Gakpo together can create and score some goals. I mean, Gakpo, I'm not a huge fan of Gakpo, but he's been great for the Netherlands.
I mean, after watching the Netherlands in the World Cup,
right?
I think they've only gotten better.
Yes.
They're young players.
And Van Dijk is coming back up. And
Van Dijk is coming back up.
Going to this tournament, like as we were saying in the last episode, like 6 months ago, I was like, Netherlands without Van Dijk being at his best are not going to be doing much.
What's insane is I think they could have the best defense.
I
don't know how
they have 5 defenders for 3 spots. I don't know how they're going to figure that out.
Well, I think a back 3, I don't know how they play it because Ake and Van de Ven both play on the left side.
Right.
One of them would have to play in the middle, even though Van Dijk
you
should play in the middle. Yeah. But if they find a way to play that 3 of Van de Ven, Ake, and Van Dijk, that is the best 3
What's
center back
crazy is
partnership.
what I've seen them mostly play, just when I was looking back at their last 10 matches, is you do Van Dijk in the center, Daley Blind on the left, and De Vrij on the right.
I've seen that. Yeah.
So I think it'll be De Vrij, Van Dijk, and Ake.
Me too.
And I think there's a world in which Van de Ven takes that left center back spot. They play Ake as kind of the left wing back, and then they play Dumfries at right. And that gives them a little more balance.
Dumfries at the World Cup. I have Dumfries that defense and what it's able to provide, but also Reinders, Koopman,
Koopmeiners.
It's my only the only concern really, because in theory you have the 5, you play those 2, and then you have Xavi and Gakpo. Is it Weghorst or Depay isn't getting really any time?
It can't be Depay.
So
I mean, Weghorst is a good tournament player. He's a goal scorer. He makes decisive actions.
Yeah. I think Bergwijn in an awful Ajax side is the only one playing maybe okay.
And then the question is does Timber get back in time and he's the left wing back?
Exactly.
Does Timber step into midfield?
Right.
The other Timber, his brother, is having a great season for Feyenoord.
Yeah.
They have
a lot of talent, and I think they easily. I don't think France, when I watched them play each other, dominated Netherlands. So I don't think they'll have problems. But similarly, I think they will get 6 points from whoever the playoff winner is and Austria. So moving to Austria in third place.
Austria in third place. I just can't get excited about Austria every tournament like I used to.
Yeah.
I mean, I love David Alaba growing up. I love the fact that he was a left
Played
back
the
who played
10.
center back. He would come in and play the 10 for his country, and he was fantastic.
The coolest
for
thing
them.
ever.
But
free kicks.
I just don't think it's there for them. I think Alaba's he's going back to playing defense for them.
He's going to play center back for them. I think they have a solid midfield, but it's
they have Schmid, Grilich,
it's
Schlager,
it's
Leimer,
the question. And Leimer's playing really well. This season,
and they have Kevin Danso, who's been great for Lens. He's a good partner for Alaba. I mean, I think they'll be a harder team to break
it's
down.
just a question of you have to. I don't think they'll get the point because they won't find enough goals against France and Netherlands, and then if it's Wales, do they get 3 in the
right? Well, is Arnautovic going to make the squad? Is Kalajic? Is that going to be who their striker is? I
it's
think
tough. You don't know where the goals are coming from. So, do you think Austria gets enough to get that third place?
No,
spot?
I don't, because I don't think they get any points against France or the Netherlands.
Right, which makes it so.
And then
tough.
that's a worst case scenario group to be in.
Yeah. Group E.
So this is one where the playoff winner I have coming in second.
As do I.
So that's Ukraine.
Yes.
So the playoffs is Ukraine, Israel, Iceland, and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Which is a solid.
I think.
Which is a great.
Israel is a very underrated side.
And I think Iceland has.
I mean, we've seen them do it in a major tournament.
That was a ton of fun.
That was
awesome. I think
was that 2 Euros ago?
Yeah,
it was 2016.
Yeah, I think that was such a
8 years ago. Fucking hell.
I think that's such a good playoff that the reason it goes without saying Ukraine is playing for more than just soccer. It's more to them, but more than that, you get out of that playoff. And you win that one, since it's such a tough playoff, that gives you some crazy confidence to continue it on into a then average group.
Yeah,
because Belgium has been so poor, brought in the new manager and has played better, but you can't ignore that they're everyone said the golden generation was done in Belgium, and that's just a fact. Jan Vertonghen is still starting at center back.
I wrote down, I cannot believe who the defenders are. Who are
I think Belgium might be one of the most fun teams to watch because I think their attack is so exciting, but I think their defense is so bad. And will Courtois be back? No, right?
I don't know.
It's tough to say. So, that's why I think Ukraine, I think the confidence level, I think it's the same message for Ukraine as it is for the other two, that anyone can really get a point against Belgium. I mean,
they're also very well-trained side. They do not leak goals.
And they have talent.
Yeah, they have talent.
Yeah.
I mean, and not that I think Mudryk is great, but he's...
If you're the guy with your...
He's been good for Ukraine. Yeah. I mean, Zinchenko is going to be there playing midfield for them. And Truvin's been excellent in goal. I like Ukraine to come in second. And I do think Belgium wins the group because Belgium's the kind of side that's going to walk through with Slovakia and Romania.
100%.
Doku feeding balls to Lukaku. Trossard kind of playing off of Lukaku.
Lois Openda's form for Leipzig, if they find a way to play him with Lukaku, I think could be exciting.
And Lukaku's actually been playing well.
Trossard doesn't get enough time for Arsenal, as I've said. He's a good player. Bakayoko is great. He's been playing
and the
really
midfield
well.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Onana a lot. De Bruyne, obviously.
Yeah, if KDB comes back, Onana's that classic, big enforcing midfielder.
I think he's a very underrated player.
Yeah. So I think this is such a good group for them to gain confidence after what they've been doing
absolutely destroyed. Their defense is shocking. Vertonghen's still their best defender.
It's insane.
Castagna is one of the worst right backs in the world.
Who?
Castan.
Yeah.
Then they have Feist is unwatchable at times.
All right. So we have the same, and then I have Slovakia over Romania. I don't have many notes on it.
I just have Slovakia, Romania.
Okay, same. Yeah. Because
I don't think that's going to be
I looked at the two team sheets and then how they qualified, and it's I just think neither of them are getting in.
No.
Okay. So we can move on after that.
Group F. So this one also has a playoff winner. Georgia, Luxembourg, Greece, and Kazakhstan.
This is the worst playoff. So I didn't even put who I thought won or a note on it because I think in this group, it won't matter. I think they get 0 points, and I think this group is a group that will definitely have the third place team get through, is my thoughts.
Yeah, I think the third place team will get through. I actually have it coming out of that playoff winner, but let's start off the top. Do you have Portugal first?
I do. Portugal, I
actually think they could kind of make something work here.
Similar to the Modric thing. Ronaldo's playing minutes, but it's not nearly as grueling as playing in Europe.
But also he's actually been really good in Saudi
He's been
Arabia.
great in Saudi, and it's translated to,
No,
to the
100%.
European. And they have talent. Goes without
Loads
saying.
of talent.
Joao Felix, him finally getting into form is going to be huge for them, I think. The questions around Bernardo Silva at the beginning of the season, like the fact that he's getting consistent minutes at City, I think is good for them. I think
the midfield three is also like the most balanced Portugal's had of a midfield three in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like Paulinho is a really good base of midfield.
I'm surprised.
Then you have
Bernard.
Yeah, I mean, I have him going somewhere else in our transfer episode that we're going to
Okay,
film at another
excited.
time. But Paulinho is at the base. Bernardo Silva is kind of that 8 that's more involved in build up, and then Bruno Fernandes feeding balls to the front three.
Similar, every single qualifying match they kept a clean sheet except one.
Their defense is incredible.
And which, when I was looking at the team, I'm like, that might be their. So I did team first, and I'm like, that might be the one reason they might struggle. And then I saw that, and it's like in the Euro qualifying groups, some of the teams you're playing, obviously, but like keeping a clean sheet in every
10 straight wins, 9 clean sheets, and only one match where they gave up goals, 2 goals to Slovakia.
Insane.
Well, honestly, they're back. It's really well balanced. Like this whole team, I feel like for years we've been talking about Portugal like it's just Ronaldo. Yeah. There's no balance. It's Ronaldo. You have Pepe kind of holding down the whole back line, and then the rest is just kind of a fucking shit show. Now they have a balance.
Like Ronaldo, Nani go score, and then Pepe maybe hold it together.
Now they have a midfield, and their back line is really interesting. They're playing Ruben Diaz as a center back in a back 5 with Danilo Pereira, who's more of a midfielder by trade.
But he's also playing.
And then
for
the
PSG,
young
though.
Antonio Silva playing as the right center back, who's been great in the Portuguese league. And then they have 2 great options at both left back and right back. They have Mendes and Guerrero, who can both bomb up the wing, are very creative.
And also provide Guerrero. They're different because Guerrero, when he's on his day, is like really special.
And he's more of an invert. Like Guerrero wants to come into the half space more.
He's a left winger almost.
Yeah. And Mendes is going to play with his heels to the touchline. He's going to be the fastest player on the pitch, and he's going to make a lot happen. And then on the right side, you kind of have the same thing. You have Dalot, who's, I'm not a huge fan of his, but I think he can offer something if he's offered the right opportunities. And obviously Cancelo. Right. So, I mean, they can make this work however they want.
Yeah. I think it's not like a really easy group, but in terms of like
it plays into Portugal's
level
hands.
Yeah. All right. So Portugal won. Who do you?
I got Turkey too.
I have Turkey as well. I don't know much about it, but apparently their new manager is.
They're very well drilled side. My only thing with them is like they were the big Cinderella story coming into the last Euros. Yeah. And they crashed out.
Oh my God.
-7 goal differential. They lost every point possible. So I think they'll have something to prove here. I do think they have, like Yilmaz is still their striker up top. He's been around.
Which is like a positive and negative thing almost.
Yeah, for sure. But I do think they'll come in second in this group because I assume you have Czech Republic third. I don't have Czech Republic third. I have Georgia.
I think you have Georgia. Wow. Yeah, I think with they finished top of a qualifying group with Wales and Croatia, and I know that doesn't seem like such a big feat, but when you look at the rest of qualifying groups in the Euros, there are some bad teams, and having Wales and Croatia in it with you, finishing top of that, I take some, and I think that goes to show how well drilled, and I think this new manager, I don't really know him that well, but everyone says he's great. So yeah, I had Turkey, and then I had Czech Republic because Patrick Schick has been in and out of injury.
Yeah, like I just don't know if he's going to even be there.
That's the problem because like you look at obviously last Euros and what he did, and the goal of the tournament, obviously, that was insane. But I just put them third because I think you're way higher on Georgia than I am. And so that's why I have Czech Republic third. And I didn't put the playoff winner. I didn't put the choices. It was playoff group winner fourth.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Because Georgia may not even come out of this group.
Right.
There's a good chance they don't. I just think like they're going to be in a group where Luxembourg is not going to come out and Kazakhstan's not going to come out.
Right.
So, I mean, they have Kvara, who's obviously was a huge part of Napoli's title run. I'm really bad at pronouncing Georgian names, so you'll have to give me a break on this. They have Mikotadze, who
I think you crushed that.
Thank you. He can score at numbers. Like Kvara's not on his own. This guy scored a lot of goals for Metz a couple of years ago. And then they have, again, give me a break, Chak Vitadze, who plays for Watford. He's an interesting midfielder as well. So there are players in this side who can help Kvara out, and obviously Kvara is a match winner. Yeah. So
yeah, my thing with Georgia versus Czech Republic is you go back to last Euros, and there's going to be overlap in that Czech.
I'm excited to watch
Czech
Adam
side.
Hozek for Czech Republic too. Plays for Leverkusen. He's a huge young talent.
Yeah, you go back to that. Like
I do expect
there,
a third
done that
place
type of-
winner to come out
Yeah,
of this
me too.
group.
All right, cool. On to the net. Oh, that's
All
last
the groups.
group.
Yeah. So where do you want to start? Winner, dark horse,
Nah,
special
let's
mention?
go winner last.
Okay.
Let's go dark horse, then disappointment.
All right. Who's first? You go.
I'll take it. So this one is kind of cheating, so I have two. So I have Netherlands as a dark horse.
And you're
just
saying
because
you have two because you don't know if that's necessarily
because
a dark
that
horse.
might not qualify.
Okay.
But odds on, and the people who built billion-dollar businesses, which is Vegas for us and whoever has the books across the world, they have them as the 8th favorite, which for me
That's kind of low.
is low. I think they should be 3rd or 4th.
So they have like Belgium above them.
They have Belgium above them. They have Italy above them. They have Germany
They have
above
Croatia
them.
above them.
I don't know. I didn't list, but and for me, that's underrating them a ton.
So what do they have, man? Like 25 to 1?
Something like that, like maybe 18. Like, it's not a bad bet.
No, it's not a bad bet.
That we're not a gambling podcast, but we'll give our tidbits.
Yeah, that's not a bad bet. I definitely took them at the World Cup.
Yeah, so Netherlands, based off of their World Cup form, based off of the form that their current youngsters are in, along with the defense, everything we spoke so highly about Netherlands is exactly why I have them as a dark horse. And that's why I think it qualifies. But
Okay,
if you
yeah,
don't,
I mean, if they're the 8th favorite, that's
if you don't want that to be a dark horse, I had Scotland, who I think it goes to a confidence factor of if they get out of the, I guess, quote unquote, secondary group of death, you just gain. It was kind of like, I think Morocco's obviously a better side talent wise.
Yeah.
But it kind of, you just saw it with them. They believed that they could, every single game they would go and win, or at least get it, or they grind it out to take it to extra time, go to penalty, whatever it may be. And I think Scotland can create something similar to that. And that's kind of just a vibes pick more than a analytical one like that I had with Netherlands. But I was shocked that they were 8th favorite, so I think that may qualify as dark horse.
I had Serbia as my dark horse.
I like that.
I just think like they kind of have everything to me that a side who is going to make a run needs to have. Yeah. Like they have multiple goal scorers, not just one.
Which is huge.
They have multiple creators, not just one. Like, I mean, Tadic is created at the highest level. I mean,
forever.
And Kostic as well is created at the high.
It's like the Tadic, Eric's, like those.
And they both,
when are they going to stop? Is
100%. And like the fact that you can have a Mitrovic and a Vlahovic who obviously don't have all the same qualities.
Yeah.
But they can kind of play off of each other. Like when one comes in, one comes out, you're getting the same target man. With Mitrovic, you're getting a little bit more of a bully who's going to win more headers, more physical. With Vlahovic, you're getting someone with a little bit more technical ability. And, like, they can figure out what works kind of on the fly. And they have veteran leadership. Like, they have guys who do it in the top leagues in the world. They play in and week out. They kind of, like, if you look at, you say Morocco, like, they kind of have a similar format where it's like you have players who are in similar positions who can kind of sub in and out, who can score goals. And then you have creators who can play in different areas. And you're a multifaceted team. Yeah. And so I think Serbia, I mean, I like them to make a quarterfinals run. I think that's for a dark horse. That's pretty good for a team that people aren't expecting to necessarily even come in second in their group.
Yeah. It's tough to hit a perfect dark horse.
Yes.
So
I had for my special mention was the Netherlands because I didn't classify them as a dark horse.
Wow. We've really been on the same page.
We have.
Euros.
I think
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
We'll have to just start disagreeing more.
Right. Or we'll have to see for you all on the betting side if we agree. If that ends up being a good thing, you could either tail, or if we end up being a curse.
Yeah, I would fade me.
Yeah,
always fade me. Like Netherlands, I just think special mention. Like I don't think they'll win, and I don't think they're a fun dark horse, but I think they'll make some noise. Like Netherlands makes noise. I think
they're the 3rd favorite, which it should be Germany at home with the talent they have. But everything we've spoke about Germany, it's not. So for me,
you think it's France, England, Netherlands?
Yeah. Who would you say is the 3rd favorite?
Probably Spain.
Yeah. It's just like, it goes back to Morata. Like the reason that I think
for sure. I think Netherlands has the same kind of issue, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Who's your special mention?
So my special mention was just England as a whole.
Okay.
Because I think we are going to cater to an English audience as our main talking point is the Premier League.
Yes.
So I have 2 questions that I wanted to pose to you.
Hit me.
Number 1, as we both agree that France is the clear favorite, do you agree England is the second favorite?
Yes.
Would you qualify them? Obviously, we don't know how the bracket turns out, but if they met in a final, would you qualify them losing to France in a final as a disappointment? Like, is it time for them to
anything other
win?
than a win is the disappointment in Southgate has to be fired.
I completely agree because I think
Here's
at
the question.
At this point, you probably have 2 of the best 3 players in the tournament. I think the 3 best players are Mbappe, Kane, and Bellingham.
Okay.
Do you agree?
I think the 3 best players are Mbappe, Kane, and Bellingham. I think that's close enough, yeah.
I think you have 2.
I think it's hard to qualify like where you're putting defenders in.
Right.
I think in terms of...
But you want to put like Saliba, who's not even going to start
that's
for
not,
France.
That's not what I was saying. I haven't looked at it enough. I think I don't think it's wildly outlandish to say those are 3 best players.
Yeah, and it's like you get to these points and it's like Kane missed the penalty. Is that Southgate's fault? But like you said, it's like get out of that shell of playing the 5. And it's like you have the best players in the world and it's not debatable at this point. You have to go win things, be more dominant, like the way France dominates games consistently. You have to find that. Now that Bellingham is hitting the form that he's in, it's almost a joke that like they're going to have them 2 running off each other.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm glad that we agree with that. And my second question is I've seen this whenever I hear anything about Euros, and I obviously cater to an English audience on my Twitter. What is your starting 11 for England at the Euros?
So I was just doing this in my head. It's easier for me actually to go front to back. So up front, and I think this is a absolute no-brainer. I think that it's the perfect profiles. It's the perfect front 3. It's like if I was to create a front 3 almost like of players who were in the Premier League, if I was to do this last year, this is what I would have done. It's Saka, Kane, Rashford.
Okay.
That is the front 3.
You stick by that even with Rashford's current form?
I think Saka and Rashford are the perfect complementary wings. Like Rashford on his day is Martinelli with better finishing.
Yes.
He's not as good going directly at players, but everything for England runs through that right side.
When he's feeling it.
Yeah, I mean,
Rashford takes on
for sure. Everything runs through that right side for England though with Saka. It does. Saka and Kane are excellent together. Saka has obviously been amazing for England for like. What's crazy to me is like, because I watch Arsenal and obviously I've been following Saka for even longer, like through the academy and whatnot. Like it's crazy to me that it took until he showed up on the European stage 3 years ago for people to realize how good Saka was. And he was already performing at that level at the club. So that's the front 3. The midfield should be Rice, Bellingham, and then either Foden or Mount as the 8 or 10 ahead of them.
Yeah. So I differ in
or Madison.
I
mean, Southgate doesn't like Madison, so I just don't think it's going to be him. He just
but there's almost if he comes back from injury and it continues to perform, like
it's one of those 3.
You can't act blind to it.
It's one of those.
I think. Well, first thing is I think Foden can play on the left. So if you have Rashford still in this form, I would personally play Foden on the left, which to your dynamic piece might not work entirely well, but I think just getting the best players out there, and Foden is such like a versatile player playing in that Pep system. He's played all across.
Well, I think if you're going to play one of them out left and one of them through the center, they're going to rotate a lot, right?
Yeah,
like
agreed.
all 3 of those players.
Yes.
Well, the funny thing is like for me, the issue with playing Foden and Saka is when Foden plays as a midfielder, quote unquote, he likes to occupy right spaces more than left spaces. Yes. That means he's going to be in Saka's way a little bit more.
That's why I think you need to stick him out as a left
The question is
winger.
how comfortable can he be? I mean, like for a while he did play there for City and he doesn't as much anymore. But I mean, I agree. Like if you can get Foden into the side.
And service-wise.
Grealish also can play out there.
Yeah, I don't want Grealish. Service-wise, I think Saka, he's better at service from... Like, ideally, service-wise, you want people getting to the byline on their strong foot and putting balls in. I think Saka's a special case where he doesn't need that. Foden being able to attack the byline and cut it back or dink it to Kane, I think,
he doesn't
on
have
his
much
left.
of a right foot versus where Saka has an excellent right foot.
I think that works a lot. And then I saw a lot of people saying you can't play Bellingham and James Madison together. I think they could... Like, Bellingham, the way he's playing...
People are just judging Bellingham off the fact that he's playing as a 10 for Madrid.
But he used to not play there.
He's a box-to-box midfielder.
And he would fit perfectly.
Him and Rice is a
and
perfect
by the way,
pivot.
Rice provides you so much structure.
Correct.
And like we said, they should go out and dominate games.
Right.
Like you play Rice and then you play Bellingham and Madison together. You're taking it to every
100%.
single team.
100%.
So that's the only thing. I would have Madison, Bellingham,
So what's your
and
back
Rice.
four?
This is where it's tough. So I was listening to another soccer podcast, and they were talking about the top 5 center backs in the world, and they had Stones as number 1 in the world, which...
Is that the one that's is Umir on that one? The guy Umir?
No.
He thinks John Stone's the best center back of all time.
Yeah, so I was shocked because I thought Stones was good and very solid in a city side where it's easier to excel than others. That shocked me. Like, I didn't know that he was that highly rated.
I feel like that last 6 months last year at City when he stepped into midfield, everyone was like, oh my God.
The co-hosts, like, no one asked a question about it, which the only question mark was like Virgil or Stones. So that surprised me. So I think Stones obviously gets in there.
Okay.
And then it's tough because like you have so much depth, but are they that good?
Right. Well, it's probably Stones as one of the center backs, Shaw at left back, and Walker at right back.
Yeah, people talk about wanting Trippier in the side.
I just
not
don't,
that you need
if
someone
you go,
in that team with
if you're
dead
going
balls.
back 5, which we're not, but Southgate probably will, then Walker's playing right center back.
Oh, yes.
And then you're either going Trippier or Alexander-Arnold at right back.
No, some people want him to play left back.
Who?
Trippier.
That's crazy. Luke Shaw, I mean, I don't think Luke Shaw's...
I think Luke Shaw is great.
I'm not a huge Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw is very good, and I think he's going to start if he's healthy. There's no question. The question is who's left center back. I mean, that's been Maguire's role.
It's Maguire. And I think he's one of the guys who...
I am not low on Maguire.
I think the hate on him was so unfair. Like, you look at other United center, they just aren't that good of a team that with Lisandro
all
next
summer
year,
when he was rumored to be going to West Ham for like 25 million.
I thought it was a great deal.
I was like, I will take him for 25 million.
Yeah.
He's a perfect rotation.
And even
for
if
Saliba.
for depth as a starter on a lower side team, great. As depth for a better side, like I think he was getting unfair hatred
100%.
in a United side who struggles with.
I mean, I love to see him struggle
right
for United, but I think he would be great at my club.
So I think it's Stone. I think it's
It'll be
in
Stones
a 4.
and
I think it's
Maguire.
Walker, Stones, Maguire, and I wouldn't mind Trippier at left back. I think he brings.
I just think in a back 4, you're not going to see someone who has an unnatural,
which is fair because he's getting torn apart in defense as a right back. Like it would probably look worse at left back.
I think. I mean, there's a chance like a Mark Way he sneaks in at left center back. I mean, I'm just
he's good, but maybe
people are going to want a non-Maguire.
Who's your goalie?
It's brutal because like if Ramsdale was playing all year, like if Ramsdale was Arsenal's starting keeper right now, I think he would have won the job. I think Pickford is just no good.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be Pickford though.
Yeah, I think it'll be Pickford. I think it's a.
What are the other
I
options?
think Pickford and Maguire. It's like they turn into a top 5 goalie and a top 10 center back.
Pickford has too many of those moments where it's like you should have saved that. But other than that, he's pretty good. I mean, he's good distribution.
And he's like sick in the head, which I love watching him play.
Didn't help Joe Hart, but it helps him.
Yeah. It's crazy how they just breed that. And Nick Pope, I think, would have been in with a shout, but now with the injuries,
and he's not going to play. Yeah. Ramsdale will be the backup.
So that was my special mention because I think it's so tough to call getting to a final a disappointment and then losing to a France side that's
it's more so what's
unreal.
happened in the past.
Yeah, but I completely agree. You need to go win it.
Yep. All right. Then we have disappointment.
I'll start.
We're gonna have the same one.
It's Italy.
No.
Oh, I have Italy because you win the Euros, you sneak in, and you're kind of playing on like fool's gold.
Well, here's my issue with them being the disappointment is I think nobody's expecting anything from them at this point.
So
they could just come out and fucking make the semifinal.
My thing is, like, when you look at Italy and the fact that they won last time, and it's a different team, but, like, there's overlap, it's like, if Italy don't make it out of their group, which they could as a third place or second place, I think you are Italy. So I think in the looking very granular, it's not a disappointment because of all the things we spoke about. But as Italy, as a nation, if you don't get, I think only if they don't get out of the group. If you third, second, it doesn't matter. If you get out of your group, you're into the knockouts and anything can happen at that point. But if they don't get out of the group with the way the tournament's structured, they don't get enough points as the third place team. I think that's looked at as a disappointment.
For sure. I just think
and that could be a cheat. Similar to my Netherlands one.
No. I mean, I think it's fair. Like, obviously, they're a huge nation, and they're probably like the 5th highest best odds to win it. I just think like the average football fan is not expecting anything from them at this point. My disappointment's Belgium because they seem to always be a disappointment. This is the last hurrah.
Yeah, I think
this is it. If they don't like their defense is already aged out.
My thing is their defense aged out to the max, but I think they're going to. They got blessed with a good group.
Well, they're going to win their group and then lose in the knockout. That's a disappointment.
But they're going to win their group, and then you play the second or third place team. You play the third place team from a different group. But like you probably
you might end up getting Italy, or you might end up getting
do. But I think Denmark. Belgium beats Italy. I think Belgium's
but that's
attack is so
any
lethal.
Team that they play in the third, if they don't beat, is a disappointment. Like to me, I think there's still a level of people are like, all right, they have Doku, De Bruyne, obviously, Lukaku's in good form. Like people are expecting them to make some. They're gonna win. If they don't win at least one knockout game, that's a disappointment.
Sure, and that's where
I think they. I think they'll lose.
That's the. I think if they don't win a knockout game, that's a bigger disappointment in some way than if Italy don't get out of the group.
Agreed.
Just because of the way it's set up.
Agreed. And then winner.
I have France. I want it to be England so bad.
I wanted to choose anyone else, but like you just look at that squad, and then you look at the list of players who don't make the squad.
So give me 3 reasons why it's France.
I mean, they were not even at their best at the World Cup, and they almost took down Messi in the final. That's reason 1.
Okay.
That same team, like, people don't realize France players haven't even hit their prime yet.
Yeah, insane.
Like these guys were like 19, 20, 21.
Their midfield pivot might be Camavinga and Tchouaméni.
And they're like 7 years younger than you.
They're like 12 years old.
Literally.
Which is insane.
They don't have hair on their faces. Yeah. Like they're children. And like then they're like, I guess it's not a good problem to have, or it is a good problem to have. Like they can put any back four out there that they want, and it's probably the best of the tournament.
You have the Hernandez brothers. You have
Saliba, Varane, Konate.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, Badashil. It goes on.
I think.
And then reason 3. Reason 4. They have a better goalie than they had the last 2 tournaments.
Yeah, which is
crazy.
Yeah.
Like their team is only going to get, and they're going to be better at the next World Cup.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be better at the next
So I think this
Euros.
is obvious, but you have the best player in the tournament, which I think is worth mentioning, even though everyone knows that.
Yes.
And my biggest thing is
Saliba does play for France.
Griezmann is in the best form in a very long time, which I think bold highlight all caps is the biggest reason why I think that takes him to a different level, because he already played he was above average, maybe average in club for the past couple of years, and then he turned it on for France. The fact that he is in the form that he is in for Atletico Madrid, he has an assist or goal almost every single game. The fact that he's going to bring that form into that France team, and then you have like the different options of ways they can score is almost like sickening.
It's crazy. We're sitting here and like they won that World Cup with Pogba and Conte, and like those 2 guys couldn't be further from our heads. Yeah. And the team has gotten better.
Yeah, which is such a shame because that was
it was a great team.
That's like I don't know what to call
what happened in his career. Yeah.
It's not the biggest disappointment ever because he did play at such a high level but like
close.
He should have been the best player in the world at a point.
I mean, you just wonder like if you can blame everyone's problems on Manchester United. Yeah. Because it feels like you can.
That goal for Juve when he had the mohawk, like the amount of edits and TikToks and the certain sounds that are put on it is like the coolest thing ever.
But like it wasn't even the goal scoring him at Juventus was it's unfortunate that it happened when it happened because like then he came to the Premier League where everybody was obsessed with playing this double pivot.
Yeah.
And he was not suited to that style. He could not play that far back in midfield. He just couldn't. Yes, he's had an amazing passing range. He could spray balls, but he needed to be spraying balls with freedom, and he didn't have the freedom to.
Yeah, you just needed to be like, I have one of the best players in the world. Like,
play him in his position.
Our structure doesn't really matter. Go do what you want.
And honestly, that's when they won the Europa League with Mourinho.
Yeah,
he was almost playing like as an attacking winger. Like he was playing in much wider areas of the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's when he was at his best.
It's kind of like Bellingham right now. Like they're different, but it's like just you're better than everyone.
Give your best player the freedom.
Yeah, go do what you want to
100%.
do instead of trying to box him in. And yeah, it's sad that it ended up being like that. But I don't know. I just got distracted because I loved watching Pogba, and it's sad.
I know. I agree. I mean, his career's over with the suspension and whatnot. Yeah. And I don't think we'll ever really see him play again. Pretty sad. Well, that's our Euros.
Do you have
prediction.
awards?
Awards? Oh, I forgot to do awards. I'm down to rip awards. What do we got?
Right. So I had Golden Boot.
Okay.
I had Young Player, and I'd player of the tournament.
Okay.
So I'll start give you some time to think about it.
Yes, thank you.
So Golden Boot, I have Harry Kane. The reason behind that is I think Bellingham will steal some goals from. So the thing about these awards is I think England and France are at a different level. Like France is 1A, England's 1B, and then you have everyone else. Like I'd probably put the Spain, Netherlands, those teams all in a bucket together. Like I just think they're at a different level. So they're all England and France dominated because I think France, Griezmann takes the penalties, so you steal that from.
Will he take the penalties? Mbappe doesn't take them?
I'm pretty confident.
I believe you.
Well, no, he took them in the World Cup final. But
Mbappe
I thought,
did.
But I thought
Griezmann might not have been on the pitch anymore.
That might be it. Because I'm pretty.
That does sound right.
And then if they play Giroud, you move Mbappe out wide, and then Giroud obviously is going to get his goals because that's just what he does.
Okay.
So in terms of Harry Kane, like Saka, I think will play provider more, and I think whoever plays on the left will play provider. If Maddison, he's one of the best providers, and I think Bellingham will take some attention off of Kane, which will only free him up. So I have Harry Kane. I think he's the best striker in the world, and I think they'll inevitably get to the final if they don't run into France earlier.
Sure.
So that's my Golden Boot. Player of the tournament, I have Antoine Griezmann. Because I think
you're high on him right now. I mean, his form's spectacular.
His form is insane.
I feel like we might get trapped in we're 7 months away and his form isn't going to last.
Right?
But yeah, so right now I like the bet.
This is why they're the way too early Euro 2024 prediction.
100%.
But yeah, I think if everything that I talked about is the reason that Mbappe doesn't win the Golden Boot, people were talking about Griezmann at the World Cup of potentially being the most important player on that France side. And I think if he's playing even a little bit better and then Mbappe doesn't score as much as he would if he was playing up top, if Giroud starts, then I think it'll go to Griezmann. Because I think he'll get some of those. If he still is on pens, I could be wrong about that. And then young player of the tournament, I went Jude Bellingham, which I think is like
he's got to be like minus 5 billion.
Yeah, I should have probably deviated from but like I think you are trying to make headlines or clickbait or something if you go away from kind of any of those sort of options.
Okay. Well, I have 3 different options.
Perfect.
Golden Boot. I think Ronaldo's gonna win the Golden Boot.
Wow. So
I think Portugal's like the more I got ready for this and the more I looked at Portugal's side, like I actually think this is the best Portugal's
side at that top bucket, but I still think England is. What do you think? Do you think Portugal and England are in a tier and France is above, or would you say?
I think they're 3 separate tiers. I think it's France.
So, but you do have England in a different tier.
The question is, are we basing it off of the talent of the teams or the people in charge of them? Because I think on paper,
that's a good point.
England is at the level of France on paper. I think Southgate holds them back. I agree. Portugal,
which is a crime with the current talent that they have.
I mean, I can't believe they stuck with them for another major tournament.
We're about to do the same with Berhalter.
It's fucking brutal. We'll get to that.
Which we will get into later.
We didn't have nearly enough time for that discussion. All right, Golden Boot Ronaldo. Player of the tournament, Bukayo Saka, and I'm going to tell you why.
It's just tough with Bellingham and Kane in the side to give it to Saka.
But if England are going to win, it's going to be on the coattails of Bukayo Saka.
That is not true.
Harry Kane's going to score 5 goals and have 2 assists, whether England win or not.
Okay,
that's what he does.
But if you look back at it, if Harry Kane scores that pen, they might win the World Cup.
And who was the best player for England at that World Cup?
Probably Kane.
It was Saka.
You want to say Saka, but
it was one of them too. So I'm just saying, there's a world in which Saka,
but also Bellingham somehow is like miles better than he was at the World Cup, which I didn't think was possible.
No, I mean, obviously, like I'm being a little, but I'm
the fact that you have.
I have a reason.
I understand where you're coming from.
The only world in which Bukayo Saka wins it is if England wins it all, and Bukayo Saka is the reason. But I don't think England can win it unless they get. Everyone knows that you're going to get from Kane, and I think Bellingham has now reached that level. I don't think Bellingham's going to have the freedom that he has at Real Madrid. So I don't think he's going to be able to be the second best player on the team. I mean, he will be.
No, that's fair.
Bukayo Saka can have 4 goals and 5 assists, and they win the Euros.
Going to reel him in a little, Bellingham, because you almost have to. Because
also, if England win on pens and Saka hits the final pen, you don't tell me that they're not giving him player.
I mean, I would love to. I like that. My love for Saka almost stems from
Dude,
I had a future
I had
on
such
England.
bad anxiety for so many days after that. Like, I just felt so bad for him.
Too. I mean,
like, not even because obviously the racist shit was awful, but just like what that must have felt like to miss that penalty.
It's similar to, I'm sure you, like, when Kane missed the penalty, I was like, is this going to affect him? Like,
didn't
long
feel bad
term?
for him whatsoever. I was so
No.
happy.
Did you feel, could this affect Saka long term? Mentally?
Saka long term, well, he was so young. I was like, this could literally end his
That's
career.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like Kane, like he's a veteran, like he shouldn't let it, but like he's been very open about the fact that it's England club. Very open about it.
His best chance at ever winning a trophy was with England, which is sad.
That's not true. We almost won the title.
What title did you almost win?
The Prem.
Tottenham?
Yeah.
When you finished behind Leicester and third behind us?
I'm saying, I mean, there was a clear, if the Chelsea match, we're not getting into that.
I'm sorry, did you finish in second? I must have missed that.
That was a clear chance to win the title. And then
when you came in third?
In the Champions League.
When you came in third, it was a clear chance.
Did we lose in the Champions League?
We did lose in the Champions League final.
Have you guys lost in the Champions League final recently?
17 years ago.
Right, okay. So.
Worst day of my life.
Yeah, so.
Other than last year's.
By the way, so off topic, but that's not if it hits your chest and then your arm is by your side.
You guys
that's not a penalty.
Regardless, you didn't show up to that match. You're not winning that game.
Worst Champions League final maybe ever.
I legitimately, that penalty got scored, and I was at my golf course, and I was just gonna watch it and then go play. That penalty got scored, and I was like, "This is gonna be the worst fucking game ever." And I immediately
didn't watch and I don't blame Kane because of the whole trophy thing, and it's just naturally a Champions League final. He should not have been playing in that game. He was not fit for it.
No. Anyway, my young player of the tournament, and this just goes to our special mentions and our Cinderella story, Xavi Simons.
I love it.
If Netherlands are going to make a run to like a semifinal, he could easily win young player of the tournament.
So good. RB Leipzig is my favorite team to watch outside of Tottenham. Openda, like I think Belgium needs to figure out a way to play Openda and Lukaku because he is so good. Did you watch him against City in the Champions League?
Yeah,
match?
that was a great match too.
Oh my God,
they gave him a run for their money in that match.
Yeah, Leipzig's great. I think.
But yeah, that's what I got. I mean, I think Xavi Simons will probably be like the second favorite to win after Bellingham.
Yeah.
I don't know if Saka still qualifies. Otherwise, he'll be second. Probably.
I don't think he would. Pedri?
22. Yeah, Pedri won at the last one.
I know.
No, he couldn't qualify.
How
is he
old
20?
Is he?
No, he's also 22. I guess they could both qualify.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right. That is our Euros predictions. Let us know in the comments what you thought about what we decided on. I feel like we had a good amount of agreement and a good amount of disagreement. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, comment if you would like, follow us on socials. We're going to be on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You'll find us on all of those. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
See ya.